yeah, savoir, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In this bulletin, brucellosis takes its toll on farms. FNPF members get their dues. And new waste plans made by local government ministry.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
The dairy farmers are now focusing on recovering its herd after bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis killed 50% of the milking herds. Fiji Cooperative Dairy Company Limited's chief executive, Kushmendra Prasad, says a lot of culling was done to remove the infected cattle from the farms. Prasad says due to the spread of bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis, many farms opted to close. He says last year, 14% increment in the milk price provided an opportunity for farmers to reinvest in their farms.
The revenue decreases because the heads were out. So what happened is that some of the farms were not able to cater, so they closed. Then what FCDCL together with ministry, they started to fund, subsidize to get them into the business.
Almost 16,000 Fiji National Provident Fund members received their $220 relief payments for Phase 2. Yesterday's payments totaled $3.5 million, with $1.9 million subsidized by the government. These members will continue to receive their fortnightly payments until a total of $1,100 is fully paid. In all, $17.5 million will be paid over 10 weeks to these members. Chief Executive Chao Chikoroi says the fund has automated its withdrawal processes to improve the efficiency of services to members. Koroi reiterated that Phase 2 is targeting members on leave without pay and those now unemployed due to the impact of the pandemic. The local government ministry is working to establish a waste management company. Minister PREMILA KUMAR says with the Namboro landfill running out of space and more pits being dug to accommodate waste, municipal councils will have to relook at their garbage collection strategy. Kumar says they put out an advertisement to see how they can properly manage waste rather than each municipality doing its own collection.
We want to have a waste management company owned by 4 municipalities, and they provide that service. So once the municipalities come together, the resources are all pooled in, and it makes sense when you provide such service. They can have transfer station to reduce this cost of taking the trucks to Namboro landfill.
The Fiji Ports Corporation Limited has put in place cost-cutting measures as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to batter the maritime sector. Chief Executive Vijira Piasena says this as most major income-generating activities of FPCL are currently on a standstill, forcing them to look for other alternatives to keep them going. Piasena says major impacts include no cruise ships for months due to the border closure, a massive decrease in cargo shipments, and the less movement of people due to travel restrictions. He says with no Pacific vessels coming in for refit, one of their entities, the Fiji Ships and Heavy Industries, was also affected, forcing them to diversify and offer service at a very low cost.
Cutting down on travel, using technology to have meetings with other our other port facilities, and then non-essential training cut down like that. So a lot of measures there we have implemented internally to the cost-saving measures and things like that.
The Ministry of Environment has raised its concern on the amount of plastic waste being caught in their trash net since it was launched earlier this month. 300 kilograms of waste was collected on the first 3 days of the trash order program, of which plastic packaging and bottles make up 50% of the overall waste. The ministry says the trash audit program will allow them to better identify the types of waste being disposed into rivers and find alternative solutions to this growing issue.
In fact, that's one of the KPIs for the Waste and Pollution Unit, to be able to put trash nets across the various channels, especially the ones that are termed hotspots.
The revitalization of informal settlements and the Environment RISE program hopes to expand its current operations to informal settlements across the country. Coordinator Isoa Bakarewa says the program began by identifying the need for proper sanitation, waste management and hygiene at informal settlements last year. Bakarewa adds they're currently at the intervention stage at 6 settlements within the Suva-Nosori corridor. The outcome of this first phase of the project will determine their next course of action.
Hoping to use data and information that we gather from the program to work with government, to work with policies, to work with policymakers, development organizations in how we can replicate or bring certain programs like this to scale in other informal settlements and of course in the wider community.
The increasing number of vehicles on the road is posing a major challenge to the Land Transport Authority's enforcement. LTA Board Chair Vijay Maharaj says there has been a huge increase in the number of vehicles on the roads in the last 10 years. He says the number of vehicles and young drivers are not only causing traffic congestion but have increased traffic violations. Maharaj confirms there are approximately 130,000 vehicles in the country as of April this year, including 87,000 cars and taxis, 26,000 utility vehicles, and 854 motorcycles.
These violations of red light and speed camera continue to increase. For example, in January to March last year, we had recorded over 45,000 violations. These figures for the same period this year went down to somewhat little over 37,000. This is because of the reduced number of vehicles on our roads due to COVID-19 and the restriction that had been imposed by government on people's movement, particularly at night.
Up ahead, Fiji Sevens start preparations and sporting bodies urged to help each other.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
The Fiji Airways National Men's Sevens will focus on building a strong base when they hit the gym this week. With the lifting of some of the pandemic restrictions, the national side will now begin work on ensuring they defend their HSBC 7 Series title. Fiji last played in the Vancouver Sevens in March, where they lost to the USA 40-14 in the 5th place semi-final. After being away from any form of competition for more than 15 weeks, head coach Gareth Baber says getting the team back into form will be the main focus.
The main focus really is to get them back and introduce them back into the work that obviously they spent a good deal of time doing in previous gym sessions with us. We're all back in the gyms at present here in Nandi and Sigatoka and up in Suva as well. So yeah, it's really obviously to get the strength base, as we call it, with the players back to where it needs to be.
The 11 sports accredited to return to competition under the new normal have a role to play to get other sporting organizations certified as well. This is the view of CATHY Wong, the Audit Committee Chair, that makes sure the return to play according to pandemic protocols is followed before they get the green light to start their competitions.
Can those who have got the certification please share your process with those who are still struggling to get the certification? It is not an easy process, and I would say like karate, you can share with judo. So people who from different sports, share with them and guide them through the process. They will need help. Okay, cut and paste is not going to do it. We've got to customize it to Fiji, to Fiji's law, to Fiji's standard.
Tottenham picked up their first victory in 8 games to beat West Ham 2-0 in the Premier League this morning. The loss sees West Ham battling to stay in the Premier League as the side is now in danger of getting the drop. The world's #1 men's tennis player, Novak Djokovic, has tested positive for COVID-19. The Serbian tennis star released a statement on his diagnosis, saying he and his wife both contracted the virus after they organized a series of exhibition matches in southeastern Europe. We can expect a fine afternoon and another cool night. Tomorrow we'll see some showers moving in from the east late in the day. And that's your FBC News now. Join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. In times of crisis, you need news you can trust. Fight fake news by getting the facts from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio, and digital media news, www.fbcnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth. Enjoy your lunch.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.